Hey guys, so I'm putting this at the beginning of the video. I just want to know, I'm going to give a spoiler free for the first half of the movie review, and through the second half I will be spoiling it. So if you want to watch it first before you finish my video, please do. I really do recommend watching this movie, but I will be spoiling it at the given time. I don't know what it is at. It should be on screen right now. I'll be showing it, but I just want to know I will be spoiling it by this point in the movie. And guys, today I'll be doing my first movie review I've ever done, and this is going to be an experience for me and you. I don't know how this is going to go. I really hope you guys like it, because today we are covering The Housemaid. If you like Sydney Sweeney in Feet, safe to say I found the movie for you. Housemaid is a 2025 psychological thriller directed by Paul Feig. We might know him from other movies such as Bridesmaids, Heat, and the really god-awful 2016 Ghostbusters movie. Firstly, before I even start anything, I just want to know I'm not really going to spoil this movie. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to give you more of a synopsis and whether you should watch it or not, as I believe just explaining the movie to you would not get the point across, and also you probably hear me talk about the movie and you're like, that actually sounds pretty good. I might want to watch it. Well, I just spoiled it for you, so what? Going into this movie, I didn't really know what to expect, and to be quite honest with you, I only watched this movie because I saw the advertising during the FNAF 2 movie. Starring Sydney Sweeney along with Amanda Seyfried, who you might know from a YouTube short film, In Time. Thought that was funny finding that out. And Brandon Sklenar, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, who you might know from 1923, A Yellowstone Origin Story. Now, I must admit, I have not watched a lot of Sydney Sweeney movies, to be honest with you. Just not an actor I really follow, or I should say actress. Now, she was in the Ed Gein Story for a little bit, and gotta admit, seeing her there really caught me off guard. Had no clue she was in that. As for the other co-stars, I'm unfamiliar with them, but I must admit the co-stars really outshine Sydney in this. While Sydney is fine in her role, not really good or bad really, some of her line deliveries just don't work for me. Maybe that's because I went in with the idea she isn't that good of an actor, or what. I'm not totally sure, but I don't know. There was just something not clicking in my head when she would deliver some of her lines. Now, before I get ahead of myself, let me explain this story real quick for you. So basically, there's this desperate young woman, Sydney Sweeney, is relieved from this fresh start as a maid for this very wealthy couple. But very soon, she discovers that their family secrets are more dangerous than her own. That's basically the little description for the movie. I kind of changed up a little bit of the words, but that's pretty much what you get from going into it. And to be honest with you all, the first half of the movie was kind of losing me at times, whether it be some of the scenes with Millie, aka Sydney Sweeney, and Nina, aka Amanda Seyfried, making me laugh with the tension between them. It's just funny to me. The way that the tension, quote unquote, builds in the movie is odd to me at times, especially the scenes between them. Also, I have to address this for whatever reason. There is legitimately so much feet in this movie. Like, genuinely so many shots of feet. Specifically Sydney Sweeney's feet. Like, I didn't count it, but if I did, there would probably be around 7 to 8 feet shown in the movie, at least 3 of which being the center of the shot. Is the book just about fetishizing feet? I literally have never read the book, but seeing this just makes me think that. My cousin said this, but one of the main actors in the movie is Sydney Sweeney's chest. And I couldn't agree more. That happens a lot in this movie. One of the personal negatives I find in this movie is the fact that the cast is pretty much 3 people, which, yeah, I know at points less is more, but I don't know the other characters, like Cece, Enzo, Evelyn, and Nina's friends don't really matter in the story in the grand scheme of things besides adding exposition when it's needed, and that's pretty much it. Like, legitimately, if the characters weren't there, I feel like we wouldn't be missing too much. Now, you could view that as a bit of a nitpick from my end, which it pretty much is, because the main 3 pretty much steal the show away with how they advance the story. Brandon Sklenar steals the show with his performance. Literally the most charming man I've seen in a movie in a while. I don't want to spoil anything, but the fact that his character is able to change in a drop of a dime is genuinely impressive. Amanda Seyfried, at first, I didn't like her acting, but by the second half of the movie, she very much swayed my opinion on her. The way she works with this character is crazy, making her look crazy in scenes and being perfectly fine in the next. You see this very well in her facial expressions. I'm not even gonna comment on Sydney's acting, because you get the gist by now. The second half definitely carries in comparison to the first half. The first half isn't bad by any means, but in comparison to the second half, it just wipes the floor. Like, in the first half stayed the way it was, I probably would have just called it an okay movie and moved on to my next movie. But the second half had me shouting and kicking my feet up for how shit gets turned upside down. I'm not even joking. I wish I had video of me reacting to the movie, but genuinely, it got turned so quickly. I did not expect it to go the way it did. I have too much to add that wouldn't spoil the movie. I think this was honestly a really good watch. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. Generally a good thriller from start to end, and it's unnerving how crazy this movie generally gets. But I feel like I'm repeating myself here, but I do think you should watch this movie. If I had to give this a rating, I would definitely give this a 7.2 out of 10. I know, very specific, but that's just how my rating system works. It's really hard to explain right now, but in my opinion, it's just a 7.2. I can't really give it any higher or any lower because Sydney's performance definitely holds it back at times. And there's a lot of feet, you know, and I just can't I just can't side with that. I do have a lot of nitpicks with the movie, just like some choice words aren't for me. But once again, they're just nitpicks, and they lower the score for me, at least. Your viewing experience probably would be a lot different than mine, but I don't know. I really enjoyed it and really liked it a lot. So basically, going through the story is going to be a little bit hard, so follow with me, I guess. So once again, I gave you the synopsis earlier, but Andrew, who is played by Brandon Sklenar, and Amanda Seyfried, who is Nina, are the Winchesters. And they are very, very, very rich. This is because Andrew's father was a rich man and basically lent all his wealth to him. So that's pretty much how he got all of his wealth. And we don't really know why, at least at the beginning of the movie. But Nina wants to hire a housemaid to help out around the house. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm basically going to be going through my notes, and a lot of them are pretty funny, so I hope you appreciate them. So we find out early in the movie that Millie is a liar. Also, they do this, third-person narrator voice throughout the movie, but it's not, a lot that it happens. It happens, not frequent, but, frequent enough to talk about it. So it's kind of odd at times to hear it. It just kind of happens out of nowhere. So, I don't know. Again, I didn't say this, but I didn't read the book, so I don't really know what to think. So one thing we see a lot in the movie is a shot of a dollhouse that was in the trailer as well. I'm not totally sure what it means. I didn't look up all symbolism for the movie. I tried to find it on my own and didn't really see it. But, it just kind of happens. One thing you see a lot in this movie is there's a troll that appears quite frequently in the movie. And I'm guessing that represents Millie, how she doesn't fit in with the house. I want to say that's the symbolism, but I'm not totally sure. So early in the movie, we find out Nina is basically a psycho. She freaks out over such a little thing. It was a script for a PTA meeting, I believe. And she gets so, worked up and angry at Millie for messing it up and, throwing it away when she was cleaning the kitchen, which she might have did, but, realistically, we have no clue, and this is never brought up again. So it just happens, and you're like, why the hell is Nina being so weird? Also, one thing to note, Andrew and Millie flirt a lot. It's mostly Andrew flirting with Millie a lot, but it's really Andrew. The scene that plays is, I think it's Millie watching the old Family Feud reruns, and Andrew comes downstairs to, give her some, attention or something. I'm not totally sure why he's even down there. Kind of weird of you to do that. But he just starts, flirting with her a lot, touching her. Not, touching her, in weird places or anything, but, just touching her in general, which is just odd. He has a wife, bro. And the way he's looking into her eyes, I say this later in my notes, but he is super sensual in every scene possible. It is so odd. We find out a little about Millie's backstory. We find out that she went to jail for whatever reason. We're not sure what by now. But if she gets fired from this job, she'll go back to jail or go back to doing something. I think she's on probation or something where she has to have a house to stay and a job to not go back to jail. So Nina did something kind of petty early in the movie where she told Millie to go pick up Cece, their kid. I didn't even mention this. Mind you, I really want to punch Cece in the head. I don't know why. It's just her face. I'm not sure. I know it's a kid and everything, but I don't know. That's what I wrote in my notes. She basically did this to be petty for really no reason besides she wants to be petty. So what she did was she made Millie go pick up Cece at a recital. And she went there and she was going to be like, oh, Cece, you ready to get picked up? But one of the moms there, who's friends with Nina, was talking with her. And she's like, she's supposed to go to her friends tonight. Are you sure you're supposed to pick her up? And Millie's like, yeah, I mean, I just got called that she was supposed to get picked up. And then the woman calls Nina, and Nina's like, no, she's supposed to go hang out with her. And the woman's like, it's okay. People make mistakes. No, I understand. Basically just backhanding Millie. In my notes, it just says, why is there already so many feet? So that's awesome. One thing, I didn't know how to add this, but for some reason they have a cabinet of liquor, which isn't crazy, but random assortments of candy. I'll put the screenshot on the screen, but it's so weird to see just randomly. Like, I've never seen this before. It's like there's a movie theater with liquor and candy. It's so weird. So Nina has some friends over, just having a little teas and crumpets and stuff like that, you know, rich people shit. And they tell us, with Millie in earshot, of course, that Nina went to the psych ward for some reason. We're not too sure why, but we know she lied about being pregnant. Millie kind of notices to herself that Nina's as much of a liar as she is. So we find out a backstory about Andrew is that he really wants a lot of kids with Nina, and unfortunately just isn't able to do that. I think it's something that like they notice within Nina, that she's not able to reproduce or something, or she has no fertilized eggs. I think that was what was said in the movie. I'm not totally sure. I think so. So something very weird randomly happens in the movie where I think Millie is dreaming, but she isn't dreaming. She's basically at the door. This was in the trailer, where she goes to the door, opens it, and sees Nina holding like a shard of glass or something. And I thought she was dreaming here, but she wasn't. And I don't know. I don't know. It was very weird. I didn't really understand it. Once again, in my notes, it just says they really like showing Sydney's feet. So yeah, this is the first half. So apparently, what happened is Millie got tickets that Nina wanted at first, but Nina eventually was like, "Oh, we can't even use these tickets because we're busy that day. We can't use them or do anything, so you're gonna have to pay for them out of your pocket because it's your fault." Millie explains how she can't afford that pretty much at all because, I mean, she can barely afford to live as is. And then Andrew, the charming man that he is, like, you don't have to worry about that. You're not gonna have to pay for that. That's not in your... Don't even try to worry about that. That you're not gonna have to pay for that. Now, unfortunately, Andrew's not able to refund the tickets because, I don't know, he was trying to reverse the purchase or whatever. I'm not sure. So instead of like just throwing them out or letting someone else go, he basically gives them to Millie. He's like, here, take some of your friends with you, take anyone. But Millie explains to him, he's like, yeah, I basically don't have friends. And he's like, oh, you gotta have somebody, right? Anyone, you gotta have somebody. Millie's like, no, I don't got any family or friends really. And so Andrew's like, well, why don't I go with you? You know, we'll have a little good time about it. Now, if there was any more flirtatious nature ever, it is here and now. Like, by far, they are being super flirtatious. So they go on this quote-unquote date, and it is a date, let's be honest here. And they had this dance scene, and mind you, this happens right after he says he loves his wife. And of course, in a matter of minutes, they are having sex, because why wouldn't they? One thing to note, though, this comes after a barrage of texts from Nina, who, like, just getting at her, being crazy. We don't really know why, but we know that she's somewhat of a psycho, and she does this normally. Just like getting at her for not doing like crazy stuff like the kitchen walls better be clean. And she basically tells her that she's fired for not responding to any of her responses. But then Andrew reassures her and says, hey, you're not going to get fired. And then they start making out. And then you see Sydney Sweeney's chest. And then they both get naked. And it is a crazy sex scene. Now, I think I missaw something. But when they get home and then you see Nina come home and she's talking with them about how she just gets crazy at points. I thought she had a bruise like on her lips and her cheek. I thought that's what I saw, but apparently it wasn't. I thought I saw that. Apparently I didn't. Apparently that wasn't anything and I just messed up. So Nina basically is playing the biggest cat and mouse game of all time with Millie. And it gets so bad that Andrew kicks her out of the house. He's like, I'm not going to let you do this. You don't deserve to do this to a wonderful woman like her. You can't do this. So she kicks him out. He kicks him out. And we see Nina leaving, and she stops and starts screaming. Now, what follows is a lot of sex scenes. Like, I mean a mountain of sex scenes. One thing to note here is Millie broke a plate. Now, this plate was something that his great-grandmother, I think, got imported from, like, England. and it was meant really special to him and his mother, and she broke it on accident because Enzo, the groundskeeper, who I didn't even mention because he's really not that important to the film, scares her, making her drop the plate and break it. Now, Andrew looks at her and says, "Don't even worry about it. I have a plate guy who can fix this." And she's like, "Oh, okay." So the next thing we notice is that he tells Millie to go into her bedroom. I didn't mention this, but she lives like in the attic. It's like an attic room. It's very small. It just has a bedroom and like water, and that's about it. He tells her to go up there, and he'll be up there in a second. So she goes up there, and then she gets locked in the room by Andrew. And he scolds her for not cleaning the broken plate, which obviously any human being is not going to clean a broken plate because it's fucking broken. What? But we find out, dun 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 dun, Andrew is the true psychopath of them all. But then we flash forward, or like flash back technically, to Nina's POV, where we go back to her when she was screaming, and then she started crying right after. And the reason why she did that is because she finally knows that she is free. So we basically go back in time, figure out how Nina and Andrew eventually would meet. And I'm just looking at my notes, and it just says, they sure know how to market to the male audience, so that's fun. And right after that, it says feet. Why is there so much feet? But anyway, we find out Nina's backstory. So basically, Cece isn't Andrew's kid, obviously. They say that in the movie. I forgot to mention it. But it's basically, it was Nina's kid with another male teacher who just did not want to help out at all and just left her, basically. We find out that Andrew proposed very fast to Nina. And we find out that what's happening to Millie right now is not a one-off. This happened to Nina a lot of times. At first, it was because she didn't get her, I think, scalp cut or something. She didn't get like a certain haircut, or she didn't get it dyed or something like that. And everything needs to be perfect for Andrew. So she got locked in the room until she would tweeze out 100 different strands of hair out of her scalp and put it in an envelope to let her out. I know, very, very psychopathic. So we find out that Enzo was quote unquote the only good guy for Nina, as he was really trying to help Nina get out of the situation because something similar happened to his sister, and he didn't want this to happen to her. Mind you, this is like the most he talks in the entire movie, so if you like the actor, enjoy him while he lasts. But we eventually find out that Nina planned all of this. She planned for someone to replace her in this relationship, and her getting kicked out was basically her way out of Andrew, having a replacement being Millie to get out of this situation so she doesn't have to worry about anything. She planned to be a psychopath. She planned all of this so it would work and have Millie replace her. Also, we kind of find out that Millie committed murder. Kind of a bombshell, I know. But she committed murder on someone who was sexually assaulting her roommate, who for some reason didn't attest for her, saying that she was defending him. I'm not totally sure, but that's just what happened. But anyway, she basically got 15 years for manslaughter when she was in school, so that wasn't cool. Also, my one like nitpick here is in the scene, his pants are all the way down when he's killed. So I was wondering if, like, I don't know if there was any like cops who were like, well, what the hell happened here? But anyways, going off of that, we find out that the punishment that Andrew puts onto Millie to act better is to cut herself in her stomach 20 times with a shard of glass from the glass plate, which, oh my god, that sounds horrible. Also, this is just one thing I want to note, but randomly there's a scene where Nina and Cece are at a diner, and then out of nowhere, for some reason, Millie and Cece are talking about how they can just go on their own road and don't have to worry about anything now. But then Cece all of a sudden starts caring about Millie when the entire movie there was obviously no care between them before, and you could say like, oh, that's because Dad had his restraints on her or whatever. I don't see that, because I don't know, basic human kindness. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I don't get that, because it's such a tone shift, because she literally shows no emotion towards Millie the entire movie, but she's like, we need to go help her. I like this part in the movie because it's basically revenge flick at this point in the movie. So what she does is she baits Andrew into the room. She baits him into the room. There was, I didn't mention this, but there was a hidden like cake knife or something that was stuck behind the toilet, which was a bucket. and it was hidden by Nina. I'm not sure when, but eventually at one point it was hidden there, and she put it there to help out Millie, I think. It's not really explained that well, but she uses it and stabs Andrew in the neck, getting himself locked in the room, just getting locked in the room the same way she was. So what she does in this scene is basically to go after Andy. So Andy likes everything perfect, basically. That's his whole character. He's fixing everything. He doesn't want women to not do things the right way. And so what Sydney does in this scene, and I am saying Sydney, is she gets plates and starts breaking them. Mind you, these are glass plates that he loves a lot. Probably more than any woman he's ever slept with. But Sydney's acting in this scene is just so, like, not good. I don't want to say bad, but it was not good. I don't know. She just seems like she's talking at this point. She doesn't seem like she's acting. But Andy in the scene is pretty good, I gotta say. I forgot to mention that she wanted to insist a punishment of him ripping his tooth out to be let out, which, boy, was that scene hard to watch. But anyways, he does it, and fucking Millie does the most savage thing I've ever seen. So Andrew goes, "Are you gonna let me out now?" And then Millie's like, "I'll think about it in the morning." Fucking savage. Way to go, Millie. So anyways, going off of what I said earlier, Cece and Nina are basically now on a rescue mission. Mostly just Nina. I don't think Cece's there. I don't know where she is, but she's not there. Nina goes on a rescue mission trying to help Millie get out of the sticky situation she's in. Now, obviously, she sees the light on as she's going up into the house. She sees the light on at the attic because she's like, "Oh, Millie's up there. Gotta go there." Little does she know that Millie's on the couch watching Family Feud, like eating snacks. And she doesn't realize that. But anyways, she's going up there, and Millie hears something, so she goes up to check, and Millie finds Nina unlocking the door, and Andrew gets out. And oh my god, this shit had me rocking with how tense it was. Andy chases Millie at first, but then loses her, thinking she left, and then goes back up to Nina, and basically telling Nina, like, "Hey, we should just forget about all this. Basically, none of this could never happen. And you know, if you went on by yourself, you become crawling back after the next week." And then Nina just tears into this man, basically calling him a bitch, a mama's boy, and how he felt like he was just his pussy all along, and she would rather die than ever spend another day with this man. And watching that shit was satisfying as fuck. Now, I think Andy goes here and is probably going to kill Nina here or something. But then the baddest bitch of them all, Sydney Sweeney, comes around and just fucking flips him off the fucking, like, third floor, where he breaks, like, every bone in his body and, like, breaks his neck and fucking hits his head and is bleeding out. He's dead. Nina tells Millie to go away and not to worry about this because this isn't her problem. And she'll just say, like, "Oh, he fell trying to fix a light bulb because he was trying to always have everything perfect." Millie tells Nina there's no fucking way that works, because he's missing a tooth and has stab wounds on his body. But it doesn't matter. Next scene, basically, the police officers are there. The morgue is there. They're picking up the body. The police question Nina. Nina's telling them, like, he's always wanted everything perfect. He was fixing a light bulb, and she was out of town at the time, along with the housemaid, Millie. She was gone for, like, a week. And the police officer basically tells her that she fucking knows that something's up. But she understands that there was an issue with this guy, because she did the same thing, or not she, Andrew did the same thing to her sister that happened to Nina and Millie. So she basically lets it slide. And this is when the point of the movie where I'm like, why is that being let slide, kind of? Like, I don't really get that, because wouldn't other officers or detectives see that there's stab wounds and him missing a tooth? Like, that just happen? But whatever. Cemetery scene. We're at Andy's funeral, and basically Nina gives 100 bands to Millie for whatever reason. I'm not totally sure, but you know, it's whatever. She's trying to help the home go out. I get it. And Millie becomes a housemaid again. She's been recommended by Nina to go to this one lady, and she basically becomes a hired hitman housemaid because she found out that this woman is having issues with her husband, and this is just the shit that Millie's good at this point. and that was Housemaid. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed this movie. I know at points when I was reading the summary, or not summary, my notes, that I might sound like kind of hating at times, but I generally did like this movie because it generally did bring me in the second half. Like, I did not expect to like it as much as I did, because I went in thinking like this was just gonna be some sort of like romantic type movie that's like thriller adjacent, or psychological thriller, just your normal thing out there. But it generally caught me off guard with how much I did like it. Generally, like, I did not expect to like it as much as I did. I know I'm repeating myself here, but I just can't like understand how much I liked it. Like, because I don't watch these types of movies, and so when a movie by Sydney Sweeney appears and I generally don't hate it, it's honestly surprising. So not that bad, guys. I really do recommend it. Before ending this video, I just want to thank you guys for watching this video, and if you guys have any other movie suggestions you think I should watch, please leave a comment below. I would love to see what you guys want me to review next. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Deuces.